Hello. What is going on, fellas? Good to see everybody. I see the shenanigans have already started. Let's go ahead and do some greetings. Mr. Guniak, welcome. Victor RC Jets, Barry Campbell, Slapnuts RC, Defrost, Strutbuster RC, Pops 305, welcome to the show. If you haven't been here before, thank you for stopping by. Let's see who else we got here. We got EQRC, we got Paul Ballard, we've got Jeff in Lower Alabama. Thanks for coming by, man. Wild Bill. That may be the only folks that have said anything in the chat so far. RC Roland, what's happening? Dylan Eisfelder, what is happening? 6SRC. Matt M. For all of y'all, welcome to the show. It's been a couple weeks, but I'm glad to be back. A lot has happened since last we have talked. And I'm not going to get into all of it, but I don't think that I've been live since the Bigfoot show in October. So, I want to talk about the Bigfoot show. Maybe I did talk about the Bigfoot show because we talked about the military flyover and all that stuff. I went live while I was there, so we're not going to bother with all that. But I do have an update on the FrSky X20S. I did fly this at the Bigfoot show, and it was fantastic. It flew great, as one would expect. I wasn't really surprised that it worked well. I mean, I expected it to function. But I'll tell you what I was a little surprised about, just based on my experience with the Radiomaster stuff, is just how smooth everything felt once I got the Expo dialed in. That was something I was never able to really get with OpenTX. I was never really able to get the Expo where I wanted it, right? It was either way too much and it just felt like mush, or it wasn't enough and it was way too snappy. And all the numbers in between just didn't seem to affect it at all. You know, there was like a dead zone in the Expo. And, with this X20S from FrSky, I was able to get that Expo dialed right in. It was perfect. And, it flies great. So, I'm continuing kind of the evaluation period of the radio, where I'd say out of the initial honeymoon phase. I do have one thing that I wanted to bring up because it's a question that folks have asked, and that is, how is the FrSky service? Can I expect the same level of service from FrSky that I get from Spectrum? And what I'll tell you is, perhaps, 5 years ago, I don't know that the answer to that question would have been yes. And what I experienced this past week is, yes, you can. So the handle on mine, now I don't know if it was through any fault of my own, but the handle broke off. And I was like, come on, man, I broke the handle? Why? It just seemed weird, like one side of the handle was popped up a little bit. So I pulled off the back of the radio, was checking it out, and I was like, what the heck's going on here? I gave the guys at FrSky a ring, and a new one was in the mail like 2 days later. So big shout out to FrSky Service for getting that done. And, now the thing is backing at them good as new. And they just sent me the parts to fix it. It's not like I had to send it in for warranty repair, which is pretty cool. That, and look, I don't know if that's something that they just did for me or if they'll do that for anybody, but it was pretty cool. The other thing that we have in is this multi-protocol module. So when I first got this, it was just running the FrSky Ethos software. It could bind to any of the FrSky protocols, but it couldn't do anything outside of that, right? Mr. Jackson, RC Aviation, it is good to see you. So I did get the iRange X IRX4 Lite multi-protocol module in, and it does work. There are some let's just say there's some kinks that are being worked out in the Ethos software right now, and it's 100% functional, but there are some features that are missing where I don't know that I feel comfortable using it yet. But in an airplane, right? Something that flies far away. I'm not sure that I'm 100% comfortable using it yet, but my understanding is that within the next couple of weeks, everything is going to be good as rain, right as rain, whatever, with the Ethos side of the software, where the multi-protocol module will function the same way it does in OpenTX. So it works, but it doesn't give you 100% of the features that you would get from a multi-protocol module in OpenTX, if that makes sense. Like telemetry doesn't come through yet. That is a big priority for the development team at FrSky, and you can't do frequency tuning for the receivers that need it. So if you're using like an old FrSky D8 receiver as an example, and you need to do frequency tuning, it wouldn't work on that because this doesn't work on the D8 protocol, right? So, Prop Lord FPV, what's going on? I've seen some new faces. Mr. Jackson, RC Aviation, if I didn't say hi to you. Hello, sir. Welcome to the show. Mike's RC. If you're interested in an X18, I think it's a good radio, man. I think it's a good radio. And it's good to be able to say that, so... look, I'm still a Spectrum guy through and through, but it's okay to be able to say, hey, the FrSky stuff is great. So when people be like, when people say something like, hey, I don't have enough money to pay $2,000 for this, and that's okay. I can make a strong recommendation of which way to go. So that's, it's nice to be able to experience the X20S and the Ethos operating system, kind of get my hands on it, learn it, because I can make recommendations to a broader audience, and I like that. Yeah, exactly, Ray. So moving ahead to more recent events. This past week was kind of my birthday week. My birthday was on Wednesday. So I'm 5 days older, but in accordance with the law, I'm a year early. I'm a year older. To those of you guys that are on my Facebook that wish me a happy birthday, thank you all very much. I really appreciate that. And I want to, oh, wow, Bill, thank you, man. I really appreciate it. I'm a year older, says the law. But, to kick off the birthday week, I got this fancy little guy. I don't know if y'all can see that, but this is Lego, I don't know, Baby Yoda, Grogu, whatever, the child. It's Baby Yoda. in Lego form. And his ears do all the things. So if you want him to be pouty, he can be pouty. If you want him to be excited, he can be excited. You can take the little, he's got some balls in his hands, but you can take those out if you want. You know, I think you can move his hand around, but not like his whole arm. And, you know, it's cool. Anyway, I dig all the Lego Star Wars stuff. I got the Lego R2-D2 for Christmas last year. Now I have Lego Baby Yoda. You know, these things are no joke. It's a lot of pieces. It took several hours to build, and I love it, man. They're awesome. The 5-foot Paris. What are you talking about? Like a Lego city? I ain't trying to put together no city. I only like the Star Wars Legos. That's it. You know, Lego Star Destroyer, I'm in. All right, and then it may have been, no, it had to have been. It had to have been Monday night. So just this was the beginning. You know, this showed up at the house on like Friday, and my wonderful wife Amy, who all of y'all, you know, well, some of y'all know who she is. She gives me this on like Friday, and I built it on Saturday, and it was awesome. I haven't tried the Kobe building blocks. I need to try those out because the airplane models that they have look pretty dang good. I can't lie. So I built Baby Yoda, built R2-D2, looking forward to the next set. What else was happening? Okay, so Monday morning, I get a call from Paul Ballard, who might be in the chat tonight. He calls me up and he's like, "Hey man, I'm coming through Atlanta. Do you mind if I, if I crash there tonight?" And I was like, "No, come on by." So, he came by, and at the same time, he says, "Hey man, why don't you ride with me? I'm going down to Cape Canaveral to watch the Artemis launch." And I was like, "That sounds awesome." But this was only, Jackson, I don't have the dancing wing stick. So Paul came by, he crashed out here Monday night. Tuesday morning, we got up, and this was completely unplanned. We got up and we started trekking our way down to Cape Canaveral, Florida, where we met up with Scott Settle. And I'm not sure, so Scott Settle is the same guy who is the president of the Birmingham RC Association. He's been a great friend of the channel and just a great friend in general. Awesome guy. But, Scott's dad worked for NASA for, I think, 50 plus years. He's 81 years old, and he was instrumental in a lot of the systems that are in the Artemis rocket that was launched at, around 1 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday, which was my birthday. So I got to kick off my birthday by watching the largest spacecraft that man has ever built get launched into freaking outer space. And it was pretty awesome, man. It's a once in a lifetime experience to see the first in class, rocket get shot off of the freaking land. We had a fantastic viewing location with Scott and his family. Their excitement got me excited. It was just very cool to watch. Some of the coolest visuals and coolest sounds that I think that anyone could ever ask for, man. It was pretty amazing. So that was awesome. But let me back up a little bit. So Paul Ballard gets here on Friday night and he says, hey man, you know, before we go in, I got something for you. And he's like driving this big old minivan, you know, and it's like, come on, man, a minivan, come on. So he opens up the back of his minivan and he starts moving. I mean, and this minivan is just packed full of airplanes. I mean, if you could get like a 1 square inch space, he probably had a freaking, you know, a spar stuffed in there. So, I mean, every bit of space was used up inside the back of this thing, this Honda Odyssey. I mean, it was silly how much stuff he had packed up in that thing. So he starts yanking and pulling, and he slides out a Freewing F-18 box, and he gives it to me. And it's a present from David Snyder, delivered with love from Virginia all the way here. So to David Snyder, thank you so much, man. As you guys know, or may not, if you're new to the channel or newer, the F-18 is clearly, you know, a favorite airplane of mine. And when I built this one, I immediately went to work and made it kind of a tribute aircraft for Jeff Coos, who was the pilot of a Blue Angel, number 6 Blue Angel, that went down in a crash in Smyrna, Tennessee, a few years back. So I made this airplane as a tribute to him, and I got the correct Buno number, I got his name, I repainted the whole front of the airplane to get the lines under the canopy correct. You know, because they're a little too fat on the stock paint job. In fact, that's a sticker. I had to peel the sticker off and redo it. You know, it still looks just like a Blue Angel, but a lot of work went into that. And I flew it once, and I never had the heart to fly it again because that would have sucked. David Snyder is a great guy. And then I got a base gray F-18, and I did this to it. Now, I got that base gray F-18. I actually got that from Dustin Holloman, who runs the Raven Rock channel, who used to kind of co-host on Flight Club with Jeff's Custom RC. You know, I guess it's been almost 2 years ago that he stopped doing that. Maybe a year ago, I don't remember. But I got this from him, and you know, what was going to be a
I'm sorry, I'm trying not to get in the frame.
Then stop trying not to get in the frame. What are you doing?
I was ready to drink.
Sorry, Amy was trying to knock all the lights over. So I got this one, and then I did this to it. And I know that you guys can't see this up close, but those of you that have seen it up close know how special this plane is. I mean, this thing is amazing. And, you know, I put about 200, maybe more hours into this paint job. And it just came out too good. And if I crashed it, I would never be able to forgive myself. So, David Snyder, he knew this. And he sent an F-18 to me. And apparently it was a model that he doesn't fly anymore. And then, you know, I get the box, and next thing you know, I had asked, you know, like what motor it uses, something. And the next thing I know, I get a UPS notice that Spencer Keith, Slapnuts RC, is sending me a package, and a couple of days later, I get this 90 millimeter, 1900 kV in runner, high performance, 9-blade, EDF unit because the airplane that David Snyder sent to me is the ARF Plus version of the model, which is fine. You know, it's easy enough to slap a motor in there. And Spencer sent me the high performance EDF unit, which is awesome. So thank you to Spencer. And I mean, just a great weekend, right? Or a great week all around, just one thing after the other, one surprising thing after another. On the morning of my birthday, we kick off the whole thing with this just once in a lifetime experience that no one will ever get to see again, you know, but it'll be watched on tape for the rest of our lives. I mean, that was an amazing event that was awesome to be a part of. That tape will get replayed until we're all dead. You know what I mean? Like the same with the first Apollo launch. Or at least the first successful one. Yeah, we've been watching that history be made for years and years, and it's just an exciting time for NASA to get manned space flight going again after some, what's it been, 11 years? You know, almost a decade since the last, well, more than a decade since the last manned launch from NASA. So it's exciting to see them getting back in that game and having such a stellar performance on the first launch of a whole new whole new rocket system. It was just fantastic to watch. So I got so much crap. Tonight, my question for the group is, and Spencer, you're not allowed to answer, and I think I may be able to find one locally, but if anybody has the 130 amp FreeWing ESC with the little 8 amp BEC attached to it, if any of y'all have one of those that you're not using for anything, please let me know. That would be awesome. Because I do need an ESC and the BEC to get the new F-18 flying. The one that I can actually fly, the one that's not like painted up special in this winter splinter awesome camo, or one that's not a Blue Angel. So anyway, if anybody has one of these, either put it in the chat, or if you're watching the show later, shoot me an email to Dave, D-A-V-E, at rcairmarshal.com. If you have a 130 amp FreeWing ESC with the accompanying 8 amp BEC, please let me know, because I would like to get it from you. Yeah, Wild Bill, it fits the F-18, no problem. 90 millimeter. I mean, is it that hard to believe that this big old honker would fit inside the fuselage of an F-18? Oh, Ray, what's up, man? Ray, do you have one of the FreeWing 130 amp BSCs with the BEC, the whole thing? Oh, look at you, Ray. Are you gonna like solder the new BEC for me, or do I have to do that on my own? Awesome, Ray. Thank you. And Ray, you know what else I still have? And I don't know if you remember this or not, but way back in the day, probably during Ryan's 5,000 member giveaway. That's how long ago this was. It was about 3 years ago, maybe. It was when I first got this airplane. And I won a raffle spot for the burner of my choice. And dude, this group is amazing. It always has been and it always will be. Yeah, the wheel show. It was the first time that I was spinning the wheel. That's right, Jeff in Lower Alabama. So I had won a the wheel spin. My name popped up, even though I was kind of the person running the wheel. And I got an afterburner from you. And I think I had just gotten this plane, and my intention was to fly it. It always is. And I was like, I need to get an afterburner for this F-18. Well, I mean, as you can kind of see here, she never got flown. It got flown once. I never put the afterburner in it. And then I got this one, and I was like, dude, I'm going to put the afterburner in it. All that is to say, oh, you know what? I have that 90 millimeter afterburner, but it's for the old Outrunner systems. So the adapter for the LED is way wrong. It wouldn't work on the Inrunner. Shit. I was like, I've still got that 90 millimeter afterburner sitting here, so I can put an afterburner in the new F-18. Yeah. Oh, damn. Like, do all of the afterburners, are the LEDs the same? I'm sure you've probably changed LED manufacturers since that long ago. Yeah, but I don't know if like the adapters that you're using now for the Inrunner 90 millimeters are the same as the light portion of the adapter where the LED fucking glues in or snaps in, however that goes in there. That part of the adapter, is that still the same all these years later? That's awesome, man. Gooniac, you are the dude. What a champion. And just hit me up in Facebook if you don't still have my address. That's awesome, man. Thank you. That's what they say, man. So, y'all heard it here. Gooniac's afterburners are the only afterburners that I use. And if you're looking for an afterburner, I give Gooniac afterburners my #1 recommendation. How you like that, Ray? Was that good enough for an adapter? Did that earn it? There's so much competition these days. I gotta help my boys out. All right. So, does anybody have any questions about all the craziness that's happened here over the last, week, man. It's just been a wild week. Who wants to know about the ride to Florida in the passenger seat of an Odyssey minivan? I I was floored by this minivan. It was crazy. So I have never, number one, I've never seen, and I've certainly never been in any minivan ever that could go in excess of 100 miles an hour. Man, we were flying down the road in a minivan. And, it was so funny because I swear Paul Ballard, who was driving, I really, truly believe that he was a NASCAR driver in a previous life. He may have been a NASCAR driver in this life, and he's just like posing as somebody else to make us think that, that now he's just a normal dude that drives a truck. Yeah, Jeff, it was really nice. It was really nice. I think Paul might be Jeremy Mayfield in disguise. we were flying down the highway, and he's like racing everybody. Like people would come up behind him, and like in this minivan, he'd be pulling away in a minivan. What? I was like, dude, we're not in your Challenger, bro. We're in a Honda Odyssey minivan that he drove like a damn Corvette. It was the funniest thing. I was just giggling the whole time. It was pretty funny. They do, Ray. They do. They hauled at least 2 asses that particular day. Dude, it was such a good time. On the way home, like after the rocket launch, we headed back up to Atlanta because I had a job interview that I had to participate in. Didn't really want to miss it. And that all happened while I was riding around with Paul. I get this phone call, and then the next room, like I get a phone call, which is a screening from the technology recruiting team at a huge, finance company that's got a large office here in Atlanta. Great place to work for, and it's just this job search has been exhausting and has resulted in hundreds of applications have resulted in like 2 interviews, which really sucks. So today was pretty exciting, and that interview went well. But that all happened like while I'm in the van, that I'm talking to this guy, like we're pulling like 3 Gs, and I'm trying to like tell this guy that I need, oh yes sir. Yes, sir. Of course I understand ITIL process. Yes, I know that stuff. So again, that was something else to add to the week. But I want to say, like, when we were on our way back, I've got my phone plugged in, and we're doing like the Apple CarPlay thing over his phone, and I'm like playing all the music from my phone. And I was playing like some of the worst shit ever. And, I think I played maybe like a handful of songs that Paul actually liked. It was a fun time, man. I think I did. I either played Duran Duran or I played the Power Station, Wild Bill. Warp Speed. Fred Barron, what's up? Hold on, y'all. I gotta take my dog outside. You know, and y'all ever experienced that thing? Like, y'all ever gone to like a go-kart track, you know, and not like the like the go-karts, you know what I'm talking about? Here in Atlanta, we used to have this thing called the Malibu Grand Prix, and they had some pretty serious go-karts there, you know. So the folks that have been to like a go-kart track or actually done some real racing, y'all know how it is, man. Like when you get out of that car and like you've been focused on doing lap after lap after lap for the last hour, and then you get into your regular car and you think that you're Mario Andretti. You know, Paul Dayton, are you already a Spectrum guy? You know, because you're looking at spending an ass ton of money, whether it's the $1,200 for, you know, the NX10 or the $3,500 for a power box. Yeah, I was playing the Barbra Streisand Top 100. some, you know, some Culture Club, followed up by some Wham, you know, and then George Michael solo, and then Boy George solo, and then some Elton John, you know, some Queen. It was a good trip. Then, you know, we were rocking out to some Milli Vanilli. And I don't even know who was singing those songs, but I know what Milli Vanilli looked like. Hold on. I mean, y'all will still be able to hear me. I'm just letting my dog out because he's being a big bitch. I swear, the older he gets, the smaller his bladder gets, just like people. You know, the older you get, the more times you got to get up at night to go to the bathroom, right? Only this turd only weighs maybe 18 pounds. So I don't think his bladder is more, you know, has more than maybe like a quarter cup of pee capacity. I mean, it's a tiny, tiny little bladder. And I mean, he probably drinks more water than I do. That dog is constantly drinking water. So he's got to go to the bathroom like every 30 minutes. Oh, man. Who let the dog out indeed? Brian Chambers. That's funny. Yeah, so overall, man, great week. It was great getting to spend some time with you, Paul. That was a lot of fun. Thanks for hauling my dumb ass down to Florida to see one of the most amazing things I've ever seen in my life, for real. That was awesome. That was just an incredible thing to witness. You know, the sounds, the smells, you know, the visuals. I mean, that I will never forget that day. So thank you, man. There's not many days like that that you live in your life that are of such just historical significance, that you know what you're witnessing is such a phenomenal, event, that I'm gonna cherish this moment for the rest of my life. It was one of those things, man. Very cool. If anybody has the opportunity to go and see the Artemis 2 mission, and look, if I'm still going live on YouTube in 2 years, you bet your ass I'm going to ask every damn one of you to get down there. These are the launches that are going to take mankind to Mars. Like, that sounds like some ridiculous shit, but that's the ultimate outcome of these missions, is to set up a lunar launch module on the moon, and that's where we're going to fire the rocket to Mars from the moon. Like, fuck yeah. America. In fact, when we were there, the only thing that I can think of is, man, those idiots from China, they just had to blow up a missile, they just had to blow up a space rocket because they couldn't get it right, and these idiots in North Korea, these idiots in Iran, they keep trying to make these missiles, and none of them work right. They never get to their targets. They're just pieces of crap. And NASA steps up with the freaking tree trunk cock, fucking slaps it on the table and says, look here, boys, this is how you build a rocket. Amazing. Absolutely amazing, man. Oh, Matt M, I bet, man. I mean, that was an extremely bright fire. I put sunglasses on. We were 4 miles away from the thing. 4 miles may seem like a lot, but I'll tell you, that thing, 4 miles, was awesome. I mean, it was fantastic from 4 miles away. I can imagine, if we had been closer, I don't think I would have enjoyed it as much. EQ, I do have video from the launch. And here's what I'll tell you. Filming this from an iPhone does not do it justice. I had sunglasses and I had put them on, and even though it was only maybe, it was an area that looked to me like, if I held my fingers out, my thumb and my index finger at about a 2-inch, separation, about that far away, that's how big this rocket was. And my perception, the rocket and the flames was about 2 inches, that you could just see clear as day. It was amazing. And you can see the flames coming down. It was just awesome. It was awesome. Anyway, so I did not take video. It's not my video, but I have it. But the cameras that are built into a cell phone are garbage. They can't capture that well. And what folks were able to get with their cell phone cameras was basically the sun. So you could see the little rocket out there, and then the sun just gobbles it up and starts going up. That's all you see. How? Paul Dayton, jump in the Zoom tonight if you have time, and let's talk about it. because I don't know that I'd go. I don't know. That's a rough one. That's a rough one for me to sit here and be like, damn, what do you do? You know, I mean, you're switching manufacturers anyway. So, I mean, there's other options out there, but is it just that they're not available in New Zealand, right? So, I'd like to talk to you more about that. And if you jump in the Zoom, you know, we should be able to hammer out the questions that I got for you in a few minutes where you don't have to type anything. Dude, there were people out there yelling, "Go, baby, go." It was incredible, man. It was just incredible. Yeah, that must have been neat to see, Matt, because you're pretty far down there. I mean, more than 100 miles, right? But y'all are a long distance down from Cape Canaveral. That's wow. I mean, that's a long way. Couple 100 miles. Has to be. The fact that you were able to see it from a couple 100 miles away is pretty awesome. Yeah, 200 miles away from Cape Canaveral. That is amazing that you guys were able to see that. I mean, it was bright, and that's what I was saying. You guys were able to see it from 200 miles away. I was 4 miles away. The film that was captured that I have from the cell phones was so cool because once this thing, you know, like the whole horizon, just it went from complete darkness to like someone with a dimmer switch, you know, starting up and like that initial brightness comes up and it's not that bright yet, and then the fireball just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, you know, as this thing is coming up out of the sky. Like, oh my God. It's like someone at a dimmer switch going ee, and turning this thing up to max brightness, you know, like oh, we're lighting that candle and we're turning the gas all the way up. It was badass. um, you know, shit, I gotta go, guys. My dog is being a little bitch, and I'm starting to forget things and just ramble. So we're gonna start a Zoom because I'm much better at rambling in person, where you guys can interact with me. It'll be fun. Come on in the Zoom tonight, guys. All right. All right. So the Zoom is going. Let's see. I'm going to copy the invite link. Let's go into some YouTube. Hey, what the hell? All right. So there is the link to the Zoom, y'all. Come and join us. It's a fun time. Paul, if you can, jump in there and we can talk about the radio business. Fred Barron, I look forward to it. Everybody, have a fantastic night. We'll do one more link to the Zoom in case you didn't hit it the first time. If you guys want more of, the same show and my commentary, no, there's video too. Join us in the Zoom, man. We'll go all night, but I'm not going to hog the airwaves with some YouTube stuff. Anyway, y'all all have a great night. We will see you next Friday. Glory, glory. Hallelujah.